There are very many factors that contribute towards cancer. Some are hereditary, some are hormonal based. There's
Yeah.
so many things that like come up to it. And a lot of people, I'll be honest with you, a lot of people, when I was told that I had breast cancer, came and pointed fingers at me and they're like, oh, it's because of your lifestyle. And
Yeah,
this really used to hurt me. And then I reached a point where I was like, you know what? You don't even understand what I'm going through, where I've
absolutely.
come from, what type of a tumor it is. And
Correct.
so those are people that, you have to learn to choose to ignore. Because people are going to keep coming to you, talking to you, telling you things. And if you let these people get to you, they're just going to push you down.
Yeah,
And we are openly able to discuss
I think this,
taboo
that
issues
is,
like
yeah,
periods,
that's
development,
so
and,
good.
and it's really important because as a father, it's really important for him as well. He feels like he has to play a part in it as well.
Absolutely.
Finding something to keep them going, like for me, my kids, my husband, my mom, my dad, my
Yeah,
brothers, everyone had just bubbled me. So I'd reached a point where I thought that I just have to be strong for them
for
and I
them.
cannot give up. So I used to have like one of my other cousins, she used to bring me popcorn every chemo, and that was my to go to. So
Yeah.
every time now the chemo was being administered, I was munching on popcorn.
I think one of the major things when anybody is going through an illness like this, I will not even call it illness, but still, I think the major support has to be from family. And I
Yes, of
know for a fact that your family has supported you through thick and thin. They've
oh
been with
yes.
you, and I, because I've known you, they've been with you so strong. I've seen my family, my dad, my dad's mother, be with my mom during her last days. And my mom, that during the last days, I still remember my dad used to tell, that my mom used to tell my dad કે હું માં સાસુ પાસે પગ દબાવડાવું છું, મને પાપ ચડશે. So,
Oh,
that was like the kind of support that my family has even given my mom. And I
yeah.
just wish that more people support, the patient at this point in time, because they're the weakest. I just feel not only physically, but mentally and emotionally. You can try and be as strong as you want, but I think you really can't.
Khushbu, I'll tell you something is I understand the patient 100% goes through a lot, but the
Yeah,
carer also, because
all,
there's
oh,
always
def,
one primary carer. They also go
definitely.
through so much. And I feel like it's so important for the
Yes.
carer and the patient to just be open about this diagnosis. They don't necessarily have to reach out to like you or me, but there's so much help now that's available,
Yes.
and they can do it anonymously. They can accept, take prognosis, like they just have to be positive in what they're
Yeah.
doing and feeling, and like getting on with the treatment. Find Sorry, finding something to keep them going, like for me, my kids, my husband, my mom, my dad, my
Yeah.
brothers, everyone had just bubbled me. So I'd reached a point where I thought that I just have to be strong for them
For
and I
them.
cannot give up. I'll be honest
Yes.
with you. I think it was my third treatment, and Bunny's cousin is a doctor, and we used to live in flats, and they were in the flat below us, and there was just one. My chemos normally were on a Monday, and on Sunday I decided, you know what, I don't want to do this.
Yeah.
My I went downstairs to her, and I cried for 2 good hours.
Wow.
I just cried and cried and cried. And this girl just sat there. She watched me. She listened
She
to what I was
listened.
saying. After I was done, she got up because she's a doctor herself. She got up and she goes, are you done? I said, yeah, I'm done. But I'm not going for chemo. She goes, you go back upstairs, go pack your bag and get ready for tomorrow. And I was like, huh? And just, when that hit me. I was first so irritated, like, why would she say that to me? I don't
Yeah,
want to do that. And then when I calmed down, I just realized that, you know what, she's not going to let me give up. And having that support system around you is really important.
it's really important.
Like,
Absolutely.
Bunny would drive me to my chemos. Then I had like family that rocked up with so much food. And at that point, you're like, I don't want to eat
I
anything.
don't
I
want
don't
to
want to
eat
drink.
any. Yeah.
So I used to have like one of my other cousins, she used to bring me popcorn every chemo, and that was my to go to. So
Yeah.
every time now the chemo was being administered, I was munching on popcorn.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not
I
an easy
guess
journey.
it's not an easy journey. It's absolutely not an easy journey, and mentally or physically or emotionally. And as you rightly said, not only for you, but even the people around you, it takes a toll on them because I do remember, as much as I was young, but there were certain parts that I still remember with my mom's journey when during her last couple of days or months or actually weeks, my dad every day would not sleep at night because in the middle of the night, my mom would be like, my head is hurting, my legs are hurting, or just she's restless. So my dad every day, he would sit on the window, reading Chitralekha. At that time,
Yeah,
there were Chitralekhas and stuff. He would sit the whole night reading Chitralekha just because my mom would be restless. So yeah, he would sit and wait for my grandmother to wake up so then at least there's somebody else to take care or give her what she wants, and then he would probably take rest. So my dad also has had sleepless nights just because of the fact that she was restless, and watching
yeah,
your loved one suffering and you can't do anything about it, because towards the end my mom's cancer got very complicated. By
yeah,
then it had spread to other parts of the body and there were a lot of complications involved. So the doctor had kind of given up and said there's just nothing we can do about it. And I think my mom had also reached that point where she said, you know what, I can't do it anymore. I just can't,
yeah,
because she really had gone through, like, I think at that time she went through 6 chemos before surgery, 6 chemos
yeah.
after, and then there was the radiation. I think that took a toll on her. And then coming back to realize that you have the tumor spread into different parts of your body, which meant more pain to you. I think she had given up. And at some point, the doctors also said that because the case was so complicated, there was nothing they
Yeah.
could have done about it. So, yeah,
No,
I mean,
obviously metastasized cancers are a bit harder to treat. So I'm really
yeah.
lucky that mine hadn't spread out.
So hers spread out after the treatment, like after the surgery. This was in 2001, we did the surgery. 2002, I think she was fine. And then during 2003 is when I think things just didn't turn up the way they were supposed to, or whatever. As I said, treatment, I think when 18 years or even today compared to when you got your treatment done would still be so different. So this is, I
It is.
think, 20 years back when I think it was fairly new. People rarely had heard about this term. There was, I think, hardly any treatments except for chemos and just surgeries and all of that. I guess that did play a role somewhere somehow.
It does. It all matters. It all boils down to the doctors, the treatments. And like you're saying, the treatment then was different. When I had it, it was different. It's more advanced now.
Exactly. Yeah. Like at that time, I don't even think we had vaccines for cervical cancers and stuff. Like right now, we
No,
have
so
all of those.
yeah, and in fact, I think all girls that come to the age of 10, I think it's 10 now.
I think so
I
as
feel like
well.
it's really important for them to take the vaccination.
Yeah.
It's something you're helping with ruling, like just the chance
Just the
of
chance.
ruling it out. So you see, because now I've had it and it was a triple negative, my girls are high risk. So when they hit puberty, I know I have to push
You have
them
to.
on self-checking.
Yes.
They are very close to their dad as well. and we are openly able to discuss
I
taboo
think this
taboo
that
issues
is,
like
yeah,
periods,
that's
development,
so good.
and it's really important because as a father, it's really important for him as well. He feels like he has to play a part in it as well.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I think fathers do play a role, important roles when it comes to such, because again, sorry, I'm saying a lot of about my experience as well because I've been through it. When my mom was about to when the doctors had given the ultimatum, my dad had told me beforehand that this is going to happen. We don't know when.
Yeah,
Could be tomorrow,
yeah.
it could be 2 months later, it could be six, but it's going to happen. My family then told my dad, like, are you mad? How can you tell a 10-year-old kid that, the mother is going to, die and stuff? My dad is like, listen, I would rather tell her right now than it comes as a shock to her. At least when it happens, she'll be mentally prepared that my dad had told me about it. And I think it did make a difference at that age. Had she gone away all of a sudden without me knowing, I think it would have been much of a shock to me. And I think maybe I would have, gone into a phase where I would have not spoken to anyone or of just that sort of what's going on. But he made that decision. So I think, yeah, sometimes dad's decisions are quite important, I guess. And
They
yes,
are.
talking about taboo topics, we are in the 21st generation, and I don't know why people still don't talk about it. I just don't. I think even something like cancer, people are so people get scared to even say if like somebody is a patient, they don't even want to share because they feel like people will become judgy and people will say this and that, and I'm like, it's fine, it's
Kushbu,
just
let me
fine.
tell you something. Yeah, when I was undergoing my treatment, you've known me for really long. I used to
Yeah,
have so many friends, and I always had gatherings to go for. And suddenly, when I was diagnosed and undergoing this treatment, these branches just started falling off. And at first, I was really upset. And I know I had a breakdown with Bunny, and I know I had a breakdown with my mom. And then I spoke to my dad. And these three people got together and told me that, do you realize that the people who are here now
other ones
are
that
the
matter.
ones that matter? Not the
Absolutely.
ones that have disappeared. Don't let them hurt you. Don't let them bother you. But
Yeah.
the people that are sticking with you now, let them be. Kushma, I'll tell you honestly, there was one chemo where I just didn't want anyone with me. And poor Bunny, I feel so bad for him. I got so mad. I left home and I walked to the hospital, and I know he was a couple of cars away. But I walked there and then I told my nurses, I said, don't want anyone here today. And the nurses at MP Shah, oh my God, hands on. They
Really,
are amazing.
that's really good.
They
Makes a
they
difference as well.
they agreed not to have anybody there. They respected my privacy, held my hand through the process, walked with me through my journey.
That's so amazing.
Yeah. You see, like counseling was not for me,
Yeah,
where I'm a very reserved person anyway. So for me, talking to a third person or a stranger was not my cup of tea at that point. But then I realized that had I asked for help, I would have gotten it. I
of
would not have
course.
had to suffer in silence. And now I do a lot of work with people who are undergoing cancer
I know.
and children and adults. And there's so many people, and I respect their privacy. I don't speak about it. I don't give their names. But for me, being part of their journey is helping me heal and grow.
That's good. That's really amazing. And I think that's why I decided to have you. Remember, I told you I got this idea at 5 o'clock in the morning. I've just woken up nowhere in the middle of the early morning, and I'm like, it's October, it's breast cancer awareness month. Why can I not have Sonam? And I
Yeah.
couldn't wait to message you, but then I was like, Vishwa, it's 5 o'clock. You cannot message someone right now. Can you go back to sleep? I couldn't sleep. So when I woke up, I told my husband, I said, I couldn't sleep after 5. And he's like, why? What happened? I was like, nothing. I was just having too many thoughts. He's like, oh, That's a normal thing. Please tell me something that's not normal for you. So I do have these thoughts at 5, and then I can't sleep. But yeah, in fact, he still doesn't know. For the first time, he doesn't know what topic I'm talking about. I just told him I have a Zoom call, and I was like, "Don't you want to ask me what the Zoom?" He's like, "But you always keep having Zoom calls." I was like, "Don't you want to know the topic?" He's like, "No." So in fact, this time it's going to be a total surprise for him.